Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a whole bunch of news, important news to go over today. However, during the introduction of this video, I'm going to talk about some admin stuff that we need to get out of the way. And if you don't want to hear about any of that, just go ahead and go to chapter number 2, and that will start the news portion of this video. But first, I want to talk about this gentleman here. He has a channel and it's called Integrative Preparedness. It came across my feed, and what I first saw was the title, and it says The Truth About Canadian Prep, and I was like, oh, come on, man. Come on, guys, we need to stick together. We can't be bashing each other during a time where we need to get the word out that people need to get prepared. That's what I thought as soon as I saw the title. But don't judge a book by its cover. I'm going to encourage every one of you to go watch this video. This is a very intelligent gentleman that is very wise, and he earned my subscription today. So I hope that you go watch it. I don't need you to say AP sent you. I don't need you to say anything that I mentioned anything. He has no idea that I'm doing this. I just would hope that you go patronage his channel, because he seems to have a very good head on his shoulder and a lot of years of wisdom behind him, and I think that you would get some benefit from watching his content. That's number 1 on our admin stuff. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, I just put out a video earlier today about how everyone is drinking water that's coming out of the tap, if you are, that's got literal poisons in it. And I got together with Simpure, and I had them work out a deal where they're going to give you the very best deal that they've ever given anyone, and it's only for this channel, or for people that come across that video that have the coupon code that I got from Simpure, which is 35% off any of their RO systems. I've never seen them give that high of a discount, but that was me working with them to try to get there. So if you do not have a way to filter your home water before you drink it out of the tap, please go watch that video. It's very affordable to get something in your home that's going to ensure that you drink water that is not tainted with these forever chemicals, with lead, with chlorine, with all of this stuff that they put in it, and you never really know about until something bad happens. That's 2. So number 3, I'm going to talk to you about OUPES. OUPES is having a Earth Day sale that's going to go on for a couple of more weeks, I think, or just shy of a couple of more weeks, where they're having very good prices. Go ahead and take a look at OUPES if you're looking for a solar generator, because in my opinion, they give you the best bang for your buck, and their solar generators do exactly what they say it's going to do. If you're really serious about looking for a solar generator and getting one, tomorrow on the 18th of April, they're going to have a flash sale where everything is going to be reduced even more in price. I'm going to leave the links to all of these things I just talked about in the description of the video, and also in a pinned comment, so you can go ahead and take a look at them. 4, I wanted to share with you a couple of pictures of Karma and Lulu on a trip, and you can see here that Lulu is starting to get used to looking out the window. Karma loves to do it every time that we go out somewhere, when we take little Miss Alaska Prepper to school, and I've been taking Lulu along so she can get used to the inside of the vehicle while we're going somewhere, and she's starting to get comfortable with it. And check this out, ladies and gentlemen. These 2 little chicks are 2 offsprings of the chickens that we have, and I decided to bring them in the house because I was just concerned about their safety. It seemed that some of the other chickens whose these chicks don't belong to were being mean to them, and I just don't want them to get hurt. So we decided to bring them in, keep them nice and warm in front of a heater, and see what happens. And number 5, thank you very much, Genesis Gold Group, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get to the news, because there's a lot of it and you need to know. Socialism is great, isn't it? Until you run out of other people's money. Brink of unrest as people who entered into this nation unlawfully and were allowed to stay here by the state and the federal government flood New York City Hall in protest of losing luxury hotel rooms, as Americans are going homeless, as we have 50,000 or so homeless veterans that are getting kicked out of homes, so that we can build more places to accommodate those people that entered into this country unlawfully and were allowed to stay by the state and the federal government. These are some of the things that we have to do, ladies and gentlemen, in order to put our point across without getting hit by the algorithm. New York City could be on the cusp of social unrest, as hundreds of these people have flooded the grounds of City Hall in Lower Manhattan to protest the scaling down of their luxury hotel accommodations funded by U.S. taxpayers. By we, the people, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that something? And it's not going to end. Why? Because this is what they want. It's been planned all along. Get your head out of the sand. The government does not care about you either way. And it's why I say you must get prepared. Why? Because when something happens that the government can no longer control, like something like this, who is going to come to your rescue, ladies and gentlemen? It is up to you, and you have time now to get prepared before it's too late. Johnson and Orange Man Bad are trying to put through a bill that will not allow people that came through unlawfully to be able to participate in the contests that we have in this nation in order to see who will represent us, we the people. Who would have thought that we would be in this place where we actually have to pass a law in order to make people follow the actual law? That's just baffling to me. It's almost kind of like an oxymoron. But this is where we're at. Hopefully this next contest that we have here in November will go according to the law instead of the crooked policies and practices that have been put forth in order to try to navigate around the law, if you get what I mean. When more than 50, 60, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, it means that Americans are broke. When 40 to 50% of Americans that make six figures or more live paycheck to paycheck, it means that Americans are broke. And I thought you couldn't eat gold. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought that you couldn't eat gold. I know I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but I hear it so many times. You can't eat gold. Well, these people are not eating the gold. They're selling it in order to eat. This is where we're at. Americans pour into pawn shops selling gold jewelry as prices surge. Why are they selling the gold jewelry if gold or silver doesn't really have value? With gold trading at record highs, cash-strapped Americans are heading to pawn shops to sell their jewelry. People are using gold as an ATM that they've never had. Gold selling traffic at his Fifth Avenue location in New York City has more than tripled, as gold has surged 17% off its 2024 low in February to now trade at $2,400 an ounce. And no, ladies and gentlemen, they're not selling their gold to go on vacation or to have an experience. While some just wanted to take advantage of the price surge, others are compelled by price inflation that's put them in a financial bind. Prices are high and I need cash, they say, citing that the burden of higher prices for food, rent, and car insurance. A 55-year-old woman said that she needs the money to pay for gas, selling their gold in order to just survive. Well, I can say this, thankfully they had it in order to be able to sell it. Of course, there are plenty of gold buyers in America too. Costco, which began selling 1-ounce bars in October, is selling, listen to this, $100 to $200 million worth of gold every month. Ladies and gentlemen, protect yourselves. Now is the time, because once it's too late, and for some people, it already is too late, like these people that have to sell their gold just to be able to afford to put gas in their vehicle. Inflation is only going one way, and that's up, only up. So you have to protect yourself. And how do you protect yourself? By getting assets. What's assets, AP? Well, a can of corn can be an asset. It's something that's tangible. It's something that you can put away for a long time and bring it out when you need to use it. And this is a great time actually to segue into the sponsor of this video, Genesis Gold Group. I'm not a financial advisor, but the folks at Genesis Gold Group specialize in helping those who want to diversify their excess wealth by converting their fiat currency retirement plans into a plan that is backed by real money. So if you're in a position where you are wondering what you can do in order to diversify or insulate your wealth against what I like to call the inferno of inflation, give Genesis Gold Group a call and they can provide you with the information that you need in order to make an educated decision. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish that I can come out here and tell you every day, hey, everything is great. And as a matter of fact, you know what? We're alive. Everything is great because we have a chance to change things for the better. So things are a lot better than some people may think. But the things that we talk about here, at least on the news days, on the days that I do my news compilation videos, the things that we talk about, they can be deemed as, let's see, actionable intel, right? Something that you can see coming, and that you have time to prepare for it. Like, why are so many people selling their gold? Are you one of them? If you're not, why is it that they're selling their gold? Well, because inflation hasn't gone away. Now, if you know that inflation hasn't gone away and it's only going to get higher and higher and higher, what can you do? That is actionable intel. Can you do something in order to protect yourself later on? If you know that something's going to happen in the Middle East somewhere that may be flare off, some kind of a nuclear war or something, what can you do? Well, what I would do is I would look back and see, when's the last time we had a real serious war where there was rationing and all of these things? Because there's nothing that you can do about stopping an actual war. But what you can do is that you can protect yourself and your family and make sure that you have those things that you know will be in shortages during a war economy. So that's why I like to do these videos, and I believe that they are also informative. And for those of you that may be new here, I say this almost every time. I don't go over the entire article, but I will leave the links to everything that I've gone over with you on a pinned comment so that you can revisit it. And more doom and gloom news, ladies and gentlemen. This simulation shows that we would be in a nuclear hell if we had a nuclear war start in the Middle East. Should the war of all wars begin, it would unleash an apocalyptic hell upon the world, sparking World War III, a new simulation depicts. I'm pretty sure they're using AI for this, artificial intelligence, and I wouldn't put it far past what they just said. The destruction of both nations is certain, the simulation shows, and many other surrounding nations and eventually the rest of the world would also feel its effects to an unprecedented degree. The entire Middle East will be reduced to rubble. And then as the conflict spirals outward from there, entire nations would collapse. It would start with tit-for-tat missile strikes. We've seen that, haven't we? But not nuclear yet, between the two nations. Then I would wage war on I proxies such as Hezbollah and Hamas. Houthis would then fire at ships in the Red Sea, prompting I to conduct a nuclear strike. And then the other I country would then respond with kind, igniting full-scale nuclear war. Yes, I'm using these little code words because the algorithm doesn't like those countries' names, unfortunately. But that's what we have to do, ladies and gentlemen, in order to get around that. And what this is saying is, in my opinion, the truth. It would be an apocalyptical hell on earth if this were to happen, because if this happens halfway across the world, do you really think it's not going to affect where you live? Not even socioeconomically, not even by saying, well, we would have to pay a lot more for oil and for this and for that. No, ecologically as well, ladies and gentlemen, it will affect everyone on earth, whether you like it or not. I would say that this is terrifying, but the thing is that the American people, in my opinion, are not going to do anything about this. And both of the sides in the Senate will end up voting to pass this law, even though they know it's 100% unconstitutional. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because our government has been taken over by special interest. Supercharged spying provision buried in terrifying FISA 702 reauthorization. And this is what happens when you put a 1,000-page packet in front of a lawmaker that's going to have to vote on something and gives them 24 hours to read it. It's crazy the way that it's done, but they do it for a reason, because it works in order for them to fast forward their agenda. On Monday, the House finalized procedural business on a bill to reauthorize the nation's warrantless surveillance powers under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, which Senator Ron Wyden, called one of the most dramatic and terrifying expansions of government surveillance authority in history. They're not going to stop until they have it all, or until the people have had enough. Passed by the House on Friday, is the biggest expansion of domestic surveillance since the Patriot Act. Senator Wyden calls this power terrifying, and he's right. You hear that? It already passed the House. So it's already passed the House. So are we in a two-party system or a one-party system? Being that one party really loves freedoms, and another one that doesn't, because it wants to take everyone else's wealth and not have to work for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is one party. It's two wings of the same exact bird. There's only one brain in that bird, and it controls both wings. Just realize that it's not for you. Well, as you can see, the price of gold is going up at the same time that the value of the dollar is going up. And Peter Schiff here explains exactly why, and he does a great job. Peter Schiff, the data looks grim for the dollar. Even though the dollar is going up, it still looks grim. The dollar index was up today, he says, but that doesn't mean that the dollar was up. Gold tells you that the dollar was down. What the rising dollar index tells you in an environment of rising gold prices is that the dollar is losing value. So what he's saying is that as gold is going up, at the same time that the dollar is going up, since gold, is going up at a higher percentage than what the dollar is really losing value against gold. But then why is the dollar going up? All right, here we go. It's just losing less value than other currencies like the euro, okay? Or losing its value more slowly than the euro or the pound or the yen, which are the other currencies that it's valued against. That is what's happening, he says. And listen to this. He says, if I'm going backward 10 miles an hour and there's a car next to me going backwards at 20 miles an hour relative to me, then I'm going forwards, right? So relative to me, that car that's going backwards faster than I am, I look like I'm going forward, but I am not. I'm still going backwards. It's just that I'm going backward more slowly than the other car. So the dollar's value may not be going backward as fast as other currencies that it's weighed against, but it's definitely going backward, and gold tells us this. I hope that made sense. Come back and read this article because it's really good. And staying on the financial realm, massive financial strain. New report exposes horrifying situation. One idea has become abundantly clear over the last 4 years. You cannot add 41% to the money supply and expect inflation to remain transitory. Inflation has only one way to go, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget this. But that's exactly what the Fed did over 2 years. The rate at which that debt is added depends on who's in office. But if you stop adding debt to this system, this fiat currency system, it will implode. They have to continuously add debt to the system for it to stay alive. The result has come to be known online as Bidenomics, and it hasn't worked out very well for most Americans. Housing has become so financially burdensome in America that some families can no longer afford other essentials, including food. Why do you think they're selling their gold? Medical care, and have been forced to make major sacrifices, working overtime and ask others for money so that they can cover their monthly costs. Nearly 1 in 5 homeowners and renters reported skipping meals to afford housing in Biden's economy. Imagine that. I've also heard of parents skipping meals so that their kids can eat, etc., etc. From what I understand now, most Americans would not qualify to be able to buy a home. But we have all of this money, endless amounts of money, for people that have entered this country unlawfully. Oh, AP, you're just a conspiracy theorist talking about these 15-minute cities and that their plan altogether is going to be to take away vehicles so that they can restrict your movement. Oh, Germany may outlaw private vehicles on weekends as climate insanity leads to infrastructure suicide. Ladies and gentlemen, it's got to start somewhere. And in this case, it's starting in Germany. Something that we've talked about here in the past. That during these 15-minute cities, that they're going to say, hey, we don't need vehicles. I'll tell you what. Let's just not use vehicles on weekends, okay? Let's see where this goes next. I just want to show you how ridiculous this is and how our money is wasted by our government. That we really need to spend money to do an investigation on this. Don't we already know what the solution to the fentanyl problem is in the United States? Where more than 100,000 people every year overdose. And the thing is that they're not going to do it. They're going to continue to spend and waste taxpayer money on this stuff because it's been planned a long time ago. When you hear people say that destruction in the United States of America has been planned, it has. And don't you see it with your eyes, ladies and gentlemen? And that's why I say prepare. Because you need to be prepared in order to make it through to the next era in time. This era in time is going to be over eventually. Something major will happen that's out of everyone's control, and you're going to have to be able to survive it. And this is another one of those instances where socialism is great until you run out of other people's money. Daytime solar power glut in California. Rooftop sales plunged 90%. I wonder why. Demand for rooftop solar systems dries up in California after subsidies drop. 100 contractors go out of business pretty much immediately. So it was the subsidies, and let me tell you what a subsidy is. A subsidy is when the government gives you money so that you can do what they want you to do with that money. That's what a subsidy is. It's a way to modify your behavior. You see, a subsidy is a way to modify your behavior so that you can consume something that the government wants you to consume. And a tax is a way to modify your behavior so that you can do something that the government doesn't want you to do, much less. So that you can do that much less. Like, for example, I think it was Washington State that wanted to put a 100% tax on ammunition. Would people buy more or less ammunition with a 100% tax? They probably buy less, because that is a tax that is supposed to incentivize people not to buy ammunition. So what if the government said, hey, we're going to go ahead and subsidize the ammunition by 50%. So now you can pay 50% less than what the ammo costs on the shelf, and we'll take care of the rest. Would you buy more or less? Exactly. When you run out of other people's money, subsidies go away. And subsidies is what was keeping the solar industry alive in California, meaning that taxpayers were actually paying for it, whether or not they had solar panels on their homes. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I'm not allowed to talk about, but I will leave the link for this as well, because unfortunately, there's a lot of truths in that article. Take a look at all of the links that I'm going to leave on a pinned comment. Take advantage of that incredible 35% off coupon that Simpure has provided me with. I'll leave that on the comments as well. Thank you very much, Genesis Gold Group, for sponsoring this video. And remember that tomorrow on the 18th, OUPES is going to have their flash sale. So a little bit of insider news for you. I actually don't know if they've let anyone else know about the flash sale that's going on tomorrow. Just letting you know so that you can take advantage of it if you're in the market for it. And go check out that YouTube channel that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Great channel, in my opinion, but go check them out. And if you like them, go ahead and subscribe. And if you don't have to subscribe. Having said that, have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I didn't make this video too long, but if you're still here, you are awesome. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.